All right, y'all, back again. Another video. This is part two of the Q&A. Uh, so I don't want to take as long as I did the other day getting involved in this. So we're gonna get it started real quick. First question is, who would I have drafted if I was the GM in the most recent draft class? Here's my thing. I don't pay attention to college basketball, college hoops. Um, it's just not good enough. And honestly don't care about the college athletes. You know, the only one I've cared about was Lonzo, and that's because of LeVar. LeVar came out of nowhere. He said all this stuff. So I was like, okay, let me go check this guy. And then I watched it. It's like, okay. But other than that, I don't really care about the college hoops. Having said that, from the ones I have seen play this season, I would have probably took Sadiq Bey. Um, it just FYI, I would have took whatever senior was available who was a forward or wing that could space the floor, play between the three and the four. Who can guard and play between the three and the four. It didn't matter if Drew was still on the team, if we had Steven Adams. Uh, it didn't matter if we didn't have another center. Jackson Hayes was our center. Um, it really didn't matter to me. I was going to pick, if it were up to me, I was going to pick a 4-year senior who could space the floor, play D. Reason why they had to be a senior is because they're more developed, and your core group of guys are basically upper 20, well, not upper, but in the middling part of their 20s heading into their prime. If you start off at 19, you got to develop them again and get that going. I would have rather them have been like maybe a junior or senior. That way, they'll be right there with Bi and Zoe and Zion, and they're already experienced enough, so you don't have to learn them as much going forward. They could already make an immediate impact on a team, and they could provide value. But yeah, I would have chose Sadiq Bey. He fits, I think, with what the Pels would like to do, especially if you're going to play some small ball. I think he's someone who would have been invaluable to the team. You could have played him at the four, Zion at the five, Bi at the three, or you could switch Bi and Sadiq. It don't matter. And then Josh Hart and Zoe, and you got your small ball lineup. That's what I would have done, personally. All right, thoughts on Stan? Basically, has Stan lived up to the hype? Has he been the coach that I thought he would be? Do I have any regrets? Kind of deal. Look, Gentry had the squad last year, and it's some turnover, but not a lot. Main thing is the two parts in the starting lineup: the center and the shooting guard position. Uh, and then there's a lot of turnover in the bench, even though you still got some familiar faces in Null and Hard and JJ, yada yada yada. My thoughts on Stan: I think he's doing a good job. Considering the fact that the Pelicans are 14 and 19, this time last year they were like somewhere in the realm of like 26 and 10. So when you think about it, granted they didn't have Zion. When you think about where they are right now compared to then, they're actually better off. They're several wins better. Whether you want to blame that on Stan, Zoe, Zion being healthy, it's up to you. But this team is better at this point than it was last year. So his presence, regardless of what people want to say, has helped. Uh, I think it has helped Zoe in particular because Zoe is turning over with the ball, which is good. He's starting to make smarter plays, even though he still wants to throw the ball and get his lobs and stuff like that. But he's not, just gung ho, guns blazing. He's kind of leveled it off a little bit. He didn't tone it down necessarily, but it's a smarter play. Um, I think he's going to be very impactful for Zion. Um, Bi, I think he's helped Bi realize that hey, you could be that guy going forward. Stan kind of put him on, well, not Stan, but Gentry put him on early last year. Like, hey man, we're going to you, do your thing. But I think Stan is helping Bi realize, hey, you got a lot more that you can take advantage of. You got to be the leader. You know, you got to go take leadership. You can't let leadership come to you. You know, same thing with Zion. Um, he's like, I'll say this, and I've said this in different videos. He's already made adjustments where Gentry wouldn't. Gentry would just play the entire bench. He would play all 10, 12 guys and say, fuck it. And he'll make it work with those guys. Stan is not that way. Stan is like, I'm playing my guys. I'm playing playoff rotation level. And you're going to play your minutes. And if you're in my doghouse, you're in the doghouse. You'll play if time comes. But I'm sticking with my guys in the discussion. I like that. It also forces guys like Nah Jackson Hayes to realize, hey, man, Melly too, like, hey, if I put you in the game, you better make the most of it because I could yank your ass and you won't play for several games. You are not who you think you are. You know, so, and even though Gentry would have some games, but he wouldn't play no stuff like that, he would still try to get at least one of them in the game. He has said no to Kira, no to Nall at times, no to Melly, and no to Jackson Hayes. Um, and all I got to say is I can appreciate that from a coach's perspective. Um, it's welcomed. It's welcome. And I think Lonzo and the others have benefited too because Lonzo understands this year, especially. Like last year, it was up for discussion if he was even going to start because, yeah, Frank Jackson started over him at times. You know, and the Pels bloggers would sit there and be like, yo, he's better, or Cambridge is better. It's stupid shit. This year, it is solidified, Zoe, this is your spot. I trust you. You're going to be in the closing lineup no matter what. Zion, Bi, you're going to be in the closing lineup no matter what. The other guys around you may change. Which, if we see, he closes with Josh Hart, and the 5 depends on what's going on. It depends on matchup and who's playing best. Because he's closed with Gomez, he's closed with Adams, he's closed with Melly. The only one I don't think I've seen him close with is Jackson Hayes, which should tell you something. But I like Stan. The defense is not where I thought it would be under him yet. But all this tells me is the defense last year for Gentry should not have been a major issue because it's not necessarily Gentry. It was the squad. Um, and I would think, like, if you were to take, like, let's name some, whatever the good defensive teams in the league, if you were to go put Lonzo or Bi or Zion on those teams, I don't think their defenses would fall off. I think they'd still be really good. So I just think it's just a bunch of young guys who are emotional and their emotions linked to how well they play, you know, on defense or how much effort they put. It's not a lot of guys to just go out there like Pat Bev and them. They playing defense every night. Fuck it, we'll do shit else. We D'ing your ass up. Younger guys like this, no, it's an emotional thing. How's my offense going today? Oh, I'm hitting. Okay, I'm a little bit more enthusiastic to play defense. That's the hard part Stan has to work through. And once that happens, I think the fruits of his labor will shine. Because like he said, the offense is where it needs to be. He ain't worried about that. I need the defense to be where it needs to be. And the other thing is I like his honesty. He's very candid. He's very direct. There's no sugarcoating. He straight tells it like it is, even in a post-game presser. I really can appreciate that from a coach. And I think that culture is good for these young players. So, has he been necessarily what I thought he would be? Yes and no. It just depends on what we're talking about. The defense isn't quite there yet, but everything else that I thought he would bring to the team, he has been. So I'm pretty happy with the hire. Um, does that mean they could have got someone better? Uh, I think they had some better options out there too, but was Stan a bad option? No, of course not. Najee Marshall. Look, I didn't actually go watch the tape on him. Let me be honest. Because for the framework of this question, I really don't need the tape. Pelicans don't need another 6'7" guy. Zoe is 6'6". That's just an inch. It's not a lot. Zion is 6'7". They don't need another 6'7" guy. They need someone, what they need is like a 6'10" guy, 6'9", 6'10", right? He can shoot. Shooting is shooting to some degree, but shooting in the G League is also different than shooting in NBA pros. Uh, yes, if you can shoot in the G League to some degree, it should translate. If you can shoot in general, it should translate. But there's some guys who go and can shoot in the G League and put up 30, 40, 50, but can't shoot in the regular league. So the shooting is kind of okay. Defense, those guys in the G League typically play better defense. One, the skill level is lower. But two, when they get called up and they get an opportunity to play, it's like, look, if I don't play my hardest defense, I am not going to be on a team. Like Caruso on the Lakers, he was in the G League. And he was putting up numbers in the G League. Now, obviously, he's played in real games now. He's in a rotation and stuff, but he doesn't impact, not impact, he doesn't put up the numbers that he would put up in the G League, if that makes sense. Like, occasionally, he might drop a 20-plus point game or something. Very rarely, but it's not common. What he goes out there does, though, is he plays hard-nosed defense, and he makes winning plays. Now, for all the stuff that Najee Marshall has, the 7-foot wingspan, 6'7", can shoot, and all this other stuff, I don't think. Here's my thing. There's nothing to me that he brings that you don't already have present in Wenyen Gabriel. You see what I'm saying? Wenyen Gabriel pretty much got the same metrics just about, and he can shoot. So if you're going to bring Najee, why not bring Wenyen? You already have him, which is why I said I want to see him play. I really want to see what he could do on the court because when he was playing in Portland, he contributed. He was giving you points, he was giving you rebounds, he was giving you defense, and he was switching. So I would actually like to see Wenyen before I saw Najee Marshall. Um, but yeah, I don't trust G Leaguers. I just really don't trust them. Uh, Only way to find out is if they pull them up. So somebody gonna have to get hurt. you know, somebody gonna have to get hurt, and or a bunch of people gonna have to get hurt or get COVID stuff, protocols, and then they're gonna have to start calling guys up. That is the only way he's gonna get some run, and then we'd probably be able to see. But hell, look at it this way: Kira can't get any run. Now barely getting some run. Shit, Hayes can't get any run, and those guys are supposedly better than him. So that's the way I look at it. Um, I don't know if he would help this team though. I really don't. I really truly don't know if he would help this team. Again, it's really what they need help with is they need someone containing 2 through 4. And for he might have length to some degree, but again, Jonathan Isaac is more of a guy I would like to see. Very athletic. Uh, Even though he can't necessarily shoot just yet, but he can literally guard 1 through 5. You put him anywhere, and he could get his matchup. He could lock his matchup. Uh, so that's my take on it. I'm not high on him. I'm really not. Okay, do BI need to go to another team and start over? Look, man. BI don't need to go to any other team. I mean, what's the point? If he goes to a team like it depends on the team he goes to. If he goes to a team, he's the number one option. We saw BI as the number one option last year. Okay, just like the question the other day, to me he doesn't impact winning enough. He doesn't do enough. Um, him going to another team to start over, it won't do him any good. He already made an all-star team. He's all-star caliber. He's good for 23, 24 points a game. That's consistent. Um, he don't need to start over. Would he be better off on another team? It depends. It depends on the team. I personally think if he were to go to a team like the Raptors, BI would probably get noticed more. BI would probably be better coached by someone like Nick Nurse. Um, but look, that team is already pre-built. They already got the pieces in place. They got Siakam. And so you give him BI, and now you got another guy out there who can go and get your points, and it makes it easy on Siakam. That would be more of a team I would like to see BI on. They already play core defense, so even if he lacks on defense, they can just put him at shooting guard next to Lowry if they keep Lowry, or if they start for Van Vliet in that place, because you never know. They're talking about trading Lowry anyway. You start him at the 2 guard, and maybe his defense becomes less of an issue because he can contain smaller 2 guards. So you never know. But would it benefit him? Like I said, it's really team dependent. I don't think he has much to prove in the sense that he was a top pick and he made an All Star game. So was he worth it? Yes. Um, it's just really it depends on your viewpoint on that. Do I think he sucks on this team? No, I just don't think he's put in the best position to win or do what he needs to do. Um, that's more on scheme. That's more on Stan. But also, Bi has to take accountability and own what he is and what he isn't. I don't think he's going to admit that, nor do I think the Pelicans are going to say, "Hey, you're good, but you're not that good." That takes a lot, and you don't want to tell a player that. So, um, I'm not necessarily sure that he should go to another team, and if he did go to another team, it really would depend. Um, it really would depend. Like, there's some teams I think he would be nice on. Golden State, for instance, I think he'd be a hell of a player. He'd be exactly what they need, especially until Clay got back. And even when Clay got back, to be honest, then they wouldn't need Kelly Oubre or Wiggins, you know, or maybe just one of them. So there are teams he could work on, but nah, he's fine. He's fine. He's still. We got to keep in mind the guy's 23, going on 24. He still has time to develop. He still hasn't fully hit his mark yet, I suppose, because he's still younger. But we'll see. He won't be KD though. KD was his comp, but KD was another monster. But he was still worth the draft status and the draft pick that they spent on him in LA to get him. Uh I like this question. I like this question. So the question is, was Hayes a waste compared to like Cam Reddish? And I've answered this question so many times. Look, you can't have this conversation um, just with Cam Reddish because you got to think about it. The Pelicans had the number one and the number four pick before they moved them. They forfeited DeAndre Hunter basically, which is the other guy who is better than Cam Reddish right now for Cam Reddish. You see what I'm saying? Like you could here's the way this shit works. You can't fuck up the Zion pick. Although I saw that OG Ricky was talking about he would have took Ja number one, and you can make the case to take Ja number one, honestly. But you got Zion. Now you got an opportunity to get Cam or Hunter or Tyler Hero. But keep in mind they already had Drew, and they wanted to see what it looked like. And honestly, I thought they were going to be the best defensive backcourt in the league, if not, number two next to Kawhi and either Paul George or Kawhi and Pat Bev, or Paul George and Pat Bev, however you play them. But here's the thing: to answer your question, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. Jackson Hayes still has to develop. If Jackson Hayes gets to the point that he can hit mid ranges and shoot threes and play defense at the right level that they thought, he's way more valuable to a team than DeAndre Hunter or Cam Reddish. A big that can space the floor, play defense, and be a shot blocker, rim protector is valuable. He's not there yet. This is only his second season, and he's still raw as fuck. It's going to take time to get him where he needs to go, and he needs people to work with him constantly. We don't get to see this now because of COVID, so we don't get to see the practices. But we would need to see him, spending time with Fred Vinson, getting those shots up. That because he shot like 70% from free throw, which is, absurd for a center, which means usually that translates to you having some kind of a jumper or jump shot ability. Look at Lonzo. Lonzo is shooting 76% now. And he's got the jump shot, So it kind of coincides. Steph is a 90% shooter. JJ is a 90% free throw shooter. It just works. So when a guy's shooting 70% like that, a big, he's got to have some kind of jump shot. The difference is you get immediate value from Cam and Hunter that you don't get from Jackson Hayes. So do you want the immediacy of it, or do you want to grow these guys and develop them? That's the problem with this season with the Pelicans. Do you push for the playoffs, or do you take this as a building season? You know what I'm saying? Where you go tank in eventually and get a draft pick. You know what I'm saying? The problem is the Pels don't quite know what they want to do, and I made a video about this like in September, I think, where I was like, "What do the Pelicans want to do? You can't do both. You're either gonna have to tank and develop, or you're gonna have to go get the pieces to win." Jackson Hayes is one of those parts where you're tanking. You have to tank, but he needs to play to get the reps, to get the experience. He's not playing. So you're trying to push for a playoff spot, but you're not playing the guy that you drafted, which means he's losing value and it's becoming a waste in terms of what he's there for, unless they're working on him like hardcore on the hour to get him ready. If you take Cam or DeAndre Hunter, I think Hunter was a senior too, so he fits into the mold of what I said in the earlier question. He's more ready to play right now and make an impact. He's like 23, I think now. 22, 23, something like that. He's more ready to start and play next to Zion, Lonzo, B.I., Josh Hart, and give you meaningful reps and help you push for a playoff spot. So, is it a waste? We don't necessarily know yet. What if in, let's say, year 4, Jackson Hayes is some guy who's putting up 15 points a game, 10 rebounds, and he's shooting like 37% from 3, and his mid-range is like 47%, right? And he's playing good defense. Then you sit there and be like, okay, that was the right pick. But we can't really assess that right now because we don't know where he's going to be at. We just don't. And yes, in the short term, Cam and Hunter and Hero, all these other guys with the right picks in the short term. But in the long term, it depends. Now, if they don't do the work they need to with Hayes, he was absolutely the wrong pick. It really depends on the organization right now and how they choose or how they go about the process of developing him. But again, they can't pull their heads out their own asses because what are we doing? 14 and 19. Should we tank and just say, fuck it, play Lonzo, Hart, B.I., Zion, Hayes, and play Kieran Naw off the bench, and Rusty Vets, we're shipping you guys out, see you later. Fuck it, just go with the young guys. If you do that, fine. Now you're working on him, so the losses don't matter as much. The thing is, hey, we want you guys to work on these things in the game. Jackson Hayes, real care, if you miss the 3, start taking like 2 or 3 a game. Get comfortable with it. Zion, start shooting 3s, start working on floaters mid-game. Start doing play. Just go out there, do your thing. If you want to try it, fuck it. Fuck it, go for it. Same thing with Nall. Same thing with Kira. They don't have minutes for these guys right now. And they're not winning enough to justify it. So, to answer your question, is it a waste? I don't know yet. But right now, the way they're doing, yes. In the short term, yes, it definitely is. Cam, Hero, freaking Hunter. Who else won in that damn draft? Darius Garland. So many other guys, even though RJ Barrett and them were already off the board. But anybody that came after that, Bol, all these guys, waste. It's a waste when those guys could have came in and contributed immediately. It is. So it's up to them to figure out what they're going to do. Right now, seems like they're just going to try to do both, and both ain't working. So it is what it is. But that was the last question. That's all I got for that. Oh, I have something I want to boast to you guys. So I got the idea yesterday that maybe I should start doing Zoom calls. Get the guys, the subs involved into these Zoom calls. We sit there, we chat, we talk about basketball, yada, yada, yada. Maybe if not Zoom, another platform. If that's something you guys want to see, let me know in the comments section. Please let me know. And I'll figure out how to do it, and we'll go from there. But anyway, that's all I got. I hope y'all enjoy this Q&A. Y'all have a good one. Peace.